This is some behaviors of sex trafficking, specifically on the top end, and labor trafficking on the bottom end, but they all kind of meet in the middle. They can all apply. And I asked y'all a question the other day, yesterday, I ran that poll. Who do you think runs into people that are trafficked? Who do you think? And I think I threw up there, I was just guessing, hotel workers, law enforcement, medical staff, and then somebody else. And we all kind of had our guesses. Y'all added some. I honestly don't know statistically who has the most contact. That's something you'd never be able to prove, because you'd have to confirm that person was trafficked. So it's something we probably can't prove, But I wanted to focus on some of these behaviors, and I want to reverse engineer them, okay? This section, we're going to call this, let's trigger a trafficker, okay? I don't have a huge background in trafficking. I don't have, tons of time to sit there and observe and watch for people. So maybe we do things that will trigger the trafficker, not the victim, okay? Because a lot of times, whether it's labor or more of the sex trafficking, there's going to be some type of handler or handler structure. Might even be a woman, okay? Might even be another victim, okay? Because they've been kind of brainwashed for a long time. But you're going to see certain behaviors crop up, all right? And if we can pay attention when these crop up, depending on your niche, maybe we can pull on the thread. And if you've heard me say it before, what happens when we pull on a thread long enough? Then we pull on a thread long enough, things start to fall apart. Things don't make sense, and I start digging, and I go, you know what? This isn't adding up. So let's just look at a couple. One, physical abuse. Obviously, with sex trafficking or coerced labor trafficking, we're going to have some maybe have some type of physical abuse. Slaps, hits, punches. Okay, we're not going to probably see any of that happen right in front of us. Maybe it's in a public situation, but think about my paramedics, my nursing staff, my EMTs, my doctors, okay? We all have training in being a first responder, or being, if you see wounds, you got to go, hey, maybe this is a domestic situation. We have that, and there's things in place, but again, it might be more subtle than just an overt bruise, okay? We see burns, brands, and tattoos, okay? Brand, that's a big, high-level one. You need to talk to somebody about that. If you're in nursing, if you're in medical staff, and you see someone who's been branded, okay, you need to raise some flags, okay? I come from the Marine Corps. Let me just throw this out there, okay? We're not exactly playing with a full deck of cards. Back in the 80s and 90s, Marines used to brand themselves, okay? If you didn't know this, it was a dumb, masculine thing we used to do. I didn't do it, thank God. That was before my time, but guys would get brands, USMC brands, Scout Sniper, and all that stuff, okay? Again, that's, under their own volition and whatnot, but if you see any type of branding or burner or any type of pattern on someone's skin, it's a conversation. It's a minimum, it's a conversation. It's like, oh, I see you've burned a symbol into your skin. Want to talk about it? So that's one to talk about. But tattoos, these can be more subtle. And we talk about this in my Safe Observer program. We talk about iconography and what people are communicating to the world. So again, if you want more information on tattoos and iconography, go ahead and hit Safe Observer in that comment section that's on sale. We'll fire that out to you. But tattoos, I've heard a couple different stories of some of these human trafficking rings were rocking tattoos. I know it's kind of Hollywood, and I know it's kind of cliche, but I'll tell you right now, I talked to one individual who works very actively in this realm, and he was in an Eastern Asian country. I won't say the name of. And they basically go in there with a bunch of pipe-hitting dudes, and they bust up the cell. These are all Americans. They bust up the cell. It was a child sex trafficking ring. This all really happened. They bust up the cell, and they notice all the handlers, they got this tattoo. I don't even remember what the tattoo was. It's just some type of symbol. And they line all these guys up, and they all got the tattoo on their body somewhere. It's like, oh, we got an indicator. They send that up to Interpol. Boom, high five. We all saved the day. A couple days later, the government of this country, who called them in to fix this problem, brings them in, and the governor of the local province, in that province that they saved the kids, wants to give them an award for doing this good deed, okay? Brings up the whole security detail. So the main guy, the face of this whole operation, they know him. They don't know any of the other guys involved. Those guys are laying at the cut. They're all at the same, but no one knows that they were involved, but they were the ones who actually physically pulled these people out, okay? So they're gripping and grinning. He gets up there with the governor of this province, and they're gripping and grinning, taking pictures and whatever, and his security detail is a retired SEAL, grabs his arm and goes, go look at his wrist. And the dude looks at the governor's wrist, and he's got the same symbol on it. And these people go to the government, and they tell him what they found. They go, this is what we found. Here's the evidence. And that government, that country was like, good to know. Thanks for letting us know. You know what? We'll have HR handle that. And I believe that governor's still the governor in that region of area. So tattoos, look for meaning. If you see some weird stuff, and you can use this kind of innocuous, all right? You can kind of use this as an innocuous conversation starter. You're in, back of a ambulance or whatever. Hey, cool tattoo. What's that about? Tell me the story there, okay? Who doesn't like to talk about their tattoos? Right? There are some people that don't like to talk about their tattoos. I have tattoos. You will never see my tattoos, okay? They're private and they're only for me, okay? They're to remind me of certain things about my life. Some people are different, like they like to wear it on the outside, okay? But if you have a strange one and, you get some indicators there and they go, oh, it's nothing, some dumb thing. Hey, that's an indicator right there, okay? Denial of food or water, okay? If you go into some EMT, paramedic, or nursing situation, are you going to probably see this person deny them food or water? No, okay, probably not, maybe. I'm not going to see that in front of them. But are there going to be signs of dehydration and malnutrition? Overt malnutrition over days. If I haven't ate in a couple days, there's certain observable indicators, gaunt face, the skin and whatnot. If I haven't ate in 7 days, that's going to look different, right? Is that going to look different? So there's I skipped dinner today versus malnourishment. Okay, there's observable indicators tied with that. So just talking about some of those in the medical staff. All right. When it comes to isolation, let's go over here into this isolation section of the pie chart there. And keeping people confined, accompanies people in public spaces, creates distrust of police of others. So moves victims to different locations. So very interesting indicators. But how are we passively going to observe, a confinement, okay? How are we going to observe accompanies people in public places? It's kind of tough. Well, if you're hotel staff, okay, if you work at the hotel staff, if you're front desk, if you're concierge, if you're cleaning the rooms, guess what? You have access to these people and you see how they interact, all right? Again, going back to the handler situation. When you're dealing with a hotel, it's most likely going to be a sexual trafficking situation usually. Sometimes they stay short-term, sometimes they stay long-term, okay? So if you're the hotel staff and you see a female and a male, the male is always with the female, okay? And it doesn't always have to be that. You might have an older female that's always with the female. And maybe as you interact with them, you'll notice that the older person who looks like they're in charge is doing the talking the whole time. They're the one answering, they're the one asking questions, or one doing whatever. You ask for passports if they're foreign people, okay? The handler will have all the passports, and they're not going to let the victim have their passport. So if you see them hand you the passport and then the passport goes right back in their bag, that could be an indicator, okay? Now, that one, you don't want to just jump on that one because that could, who knows, be the patriarch of the family. You'll understand by the stuff we talk about, you never just jump on one indicator, but that could be something to look at. Going, oh, wait a minute, when it comes to confinement, are they in that hotel room 24/7? Do you only see them, what do they look like when they leave the hotel bar? If you're the front desk and you're seeing this person come and go, what do they look like? Are they dressed to the nines? Do they have heels on? Are they frumpy? What does it look like, If it's a child, okay? Hypothetically, if a child stays in a hotel room, that happens all the time. People come on hard times. Families have to put themselves up in hotels, especially now, crazy economic time, all right? What age is the child, and have you seen them playing? Kids should play outside, play with a ball, play with birds, whatever it is. If it's a younger child, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, have you seen them outside the hotel room? Have they played in the backyard? Have they done any of this stuff? All right. So think of a normal time. So how I came up with these ideas, and one I use this wheel too, but think about it like this. If this is going to be tough, everyone, and it's hard to swallow, but this can help you. This can actually stop this stuff from happening. You got to put on your human trafficker hat. Okay. Some of you are probably like, ugh, this is gross. Hey, that's what you got to do. Before I get on with you, I put on my human trafficker hat. I take off my good guy and put on the human trafficker. I go, what would I need to make happen to make sure I don't get caught? If I'm operating and I just pick a place, Southern California right here in Beach Cities, what do I got to do to make sure I don't get caught trafficking this person? What do I make sure I need to then make sure they know and understand? You don't talk to cops. You don't talk to security. Whenever they show up around any security structure, whether it be a uniform or whatever, all of a sudden they get a little sketchy, no matter what the uniform is. That's all things I want to pay attention to. So that's how I think about it. I think, how would I not get caught? What would I be telling all the people around me not to do? All some things you can pull off this observational wheel right here and go, wait a minute, that one crazy Arab guy said something one time, and I'm seeing that stuff happen right here. So